Hi, and welcome to Screens in Focus podcast, where we share and connect as we spotlight our favorite shows and movies. I'm Brooke.
I'm Diana.
And this is episode 74.
Woohoo!
Today, we are going to be talking about Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. But before we dive in, how are you, Diana?
I am doing good. This
Great.
is our first podcast for 2020.
Oh my goodness.
Yay.
Another decade.
Wow, I can't believe we're here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
wow.
know.
Wonderful holidays. I was off for 2 weeks, so that was awesome. I got to spend a lot of time with my family and my friends and a lot of celebration.
Wow, 2 weeks. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I loved it.
Oh, everybody deserves that, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
How are you doing? How was your holidays?
It was good, same thing. Family, friends, food, laughter, love.
Yeah.
Spend time with the kids.
Uh-huh.
Just not have to wake up at a certain time each day. Just kind of, go whenever I feel like it. So it was really nice to just mellow out for me, it was more like 10 days. But hey, it's more than nothing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I loved this movie. I love Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's so entertaining. It's on in my house all the time, just like The Walking Dead. We're always watching Star Wars. What does Star Wars mean to you? Do you have a connection to it? Is it just something that you can enjoy?
Growing up, I was aware of Star Wars, but I didn't watch them very much back in the day. And of course, we didn't have it like we have it now. We can watch it anytime we want. So I knew about it, but it wasn't something that I went to because we didn't used to go to the movies very much.
Yeah.
Back in the Stone Age when I was around. But when my kids were growing up and, the second trilogy was coming, we said, we're watching it all. We're starting over. Let's watch, the originals. And then we were watching them as they came out. Mm-hmm. And then here we go with this next trilogy. So for me, it was a slow admiration and love for them.
Okay, cool.
But I just have always loved Rey. I feel like they're not giving her enough credit, but I just have this thing for her. I just think she's really awesome. So, I like that, she's the heroine. So, and really the overall Star Wars to me, it's about fantasy, right? It's about, back when they first made them, there was nothing like them. There's nothing out like that. So exactly. I think that's why people were drawn to them and loved them, because it was living out something that they hadn't seen before. Mm-hmm. So, but for me, I always love movies that show light and dark, good and evil, mm-hmm. and trying to be triumphant with the good and the light and the force. Mm-hmm. So, that's why I loved The Walking Dead. That's why I loved Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's why I loved Game of Thrones.
Right.
It's all of those, because it is always about fighting evil.
Yeah.
Or bad.
Right.
Or whatever it may be. So that's what it is for me. And that's why I love it.
Awesome. I'm loving your feedback.
What about you?
Well, it means a lot to me. I grew up watching Star Wars as a little wee lad. And so I watched growing up, and we were in that, early 80s era where there was all the Star Wars toys.
Right.
And, just the influence of Star Wars was just big throughout my entire life. And introducing Star Wars to my children, introducing the first trilogy, then the second trilogy, mm-hmm. and now the third, and George Lucas, and just all these special effects, the storyline, the creativity. Mm-hmm. It means everything to me and my family. We have collectibles. We watch the movies regularly. We've been watching Star Wars for the past 2 weeks, all of them, and we've even watched them multiple times. It's like a little wacky. But it obviously means a lot. I mean, our apparel, like we buy Star Wars merch all the time. It's just, we just absolutely love it. And, I think it's really interesting that Disney now owns the Star Wars franchise. And I think, they've really gone in a different direction geared towards a new following. And so I think more and more people are watching Star Wars or becoming introduced to Star Wars. And I think that is just infectious. So I love Star Wars.
Yeah. That's awesome. So listeners, let us know what you think. What does Star Wars mean to you? You can leave us a comment on Twitter at @in_screens or on our Screens in Focus Facebook page. You can follow us on our Instagram, subscribe to our website and YouTube channel. So, Brooke, what were your overall thoughts on this movie?
Oh my gosh! Well, I really enjoyed the movie. I thought there was a lot of action, adventure, and surprise. The wardrobe, the score was entertaining. I really felt like I was along for the ride. And it was a treat to enjoy the droids. And there was a new droid that was introduced to the gang, and he was just so adorable, or it was so adorable. I was really scared when they tried to psych us out on Chewie's death. Didn't like that at all. Rey had so much power, and I was relieved to finally know Rey's destiny and who her parents were. Sheesh, I've been on pins and needles trying to think of who her parents were this entire time. And it was also interesting to see Princess Leia's tribute to the story and franchise. Overall, I was pleased, and there is just so much to talk about.
Yeah.
How about you? What were your overall thoughts?
Well, I've been reading a lot of reviews and listened to podcasts, and people have been so hard on this film. I mean, really hard. I realize there are some diehard fans of Star Wars franchise and they hold it to a high standard, and I get that. But I really like this movie, and I want to talk about all the things that I found fun and thrilling and exciting about this film. It was visually stunning, and a lot of work went into this film. It was a huge collaborative event, and I appreciate the creative work that went into bringing this film to us on the big screen. Also, I thought Daisy Ridley shined as Rey, and Adam Driver was fantastic as Kylo Ren, aka Ben Solo.
Awesome.
So I loved it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, with Rey, that dream that she had, or that vision that she had, where she saw herself as a Sith.
Yeah.
And she was holding that double-ended lightsaber, and she looked all evil, like Darth Maul, and her teeth were all sharp and jagged. And she just looked like a Sith. I was like, what?
Right.
Because I hadn't actually seen too many trailers. And so when the kids were like, Mom, Rey has a double-ended lightsaber. I'm like, what? What? I don't understand what's going on. Why would she have, it doesn't make, so I was just like, when I finally got to see it, it actually kind of scared me because like the way that her face, the way that they made her look. So I loved the special effect makeup for her on that was pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
I think I want to dress like a Sith one of these days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's such a cool look. I mean, it's evil, like you were talking earlier, you like the good and the evil but I like that she got to see what she looked like, you know, the little angels on her shoulders, right?
You just reminded me.
Yeah.
We had a Star Wars party when the kids were little. I just remembered that.
How cute.
And who was I again? But I remember painting somebody's face all red, Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I'm going to pull out those pictures. It was so funny when you said that. It just reminded me of all that. I'm like, hey, we had a Star Wars party.
Oh, I wonder who you were.
So,
yeah,
I don't know. I painted somebody. I painted my face. I painted the kids' face. They were running around in their costumes. So we had a cake. It was, oh my gosh, I just remembered that. Thank you for reminding me.
Oh, so cute. Oh, well, you know what? It was kind of similar to what happened to Luke and Ben in The Last Jedi.
Yes.
I like that they were able to bring her visions into this movie as well, because it obviously looked like she was battling something inside. And so that just brought out more of her story, because in the beginning I'm like, who's Rey? What does she have to do with this? Why is she, you know, almost like the chosen one of some kind, you know? And so now this totally explains it for me.
Yeah. You know, Rey was so emotional when it came to speaking about her parents. So I was happy to see that her parents were actually really good people who abandoned her to save her, you know, to give her a life. It must have been so hard for them, but they loved her and did what they had to protect her.
Correct.
And to find out that she is Emperor Palpatine's granddaughter, oh my gosh, that must have been so crazy and torturous for her. I mean, can you imagine? She must have felt so devastated to learn that she is related to someone so evil. And what I appreciate about this is that it explores the theme of who you are. Are you destined by lineage, or can you make choices to who you want to be?
Right.
And I like that everyone has a choice.
Right.
And I loved how at the end she chose Luke and Leia as her family and took the Skywalker name. I mean, how cool was that?
Right. Yeah, I think that she was completely honored by having Anakin and Luke's lightsaber, as well as eventually having Leia's lightsaber. And yes, that was very cool. Rey and Leia have a pretty intense bond, right?
Yeah.
I could feel their connection, and I'm amazed at how close they became in this trilogy. I understand that in the previous films they had potential to be close, but wow, I did not know that it was going to grow that much in the relationship. And it's like Leia already knew who Rey was, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Force is strong with Rey, and she has those amazing healing abilities. And we saw her use it on that creature that was wounded, and she calmly handled the situation and healed it so that they could pass through. And then we saw her use that healing ability again with Kylo.
I know. I mean, can you imagine having those abilities to heal by having someone's hands on you? That's like crazy.
Yeah.
I want it.
Me too.
You could have used that over the...
Yeah. And like maybe a time machine.
Yeah, that too. Okay, so let's talk about Kylo, a.k.a. Ben.
Yes.
First off, I have to say, I love Adam Driver as Kylo Ren. He is so good.
Mm-hmm.
And you root for him, even though he's a bad guy. So Kylo confronts Palpatine and finds out that he was the one behind Snoke, a clone in the First Order. And Palpatine offers Kylo a massive amount of Imperial ships to join him as the Final Order and tells him he can rule the galaxy. This is all if he is able to kill the girl, aka Rey. So off goes Kylo to do just that. And you know, Kylo faced so many challenges in this film. I was thinking about it. I mean, okay, he has to face Palpatine, right? And then he has to face Rey multiple battles throughout this film. And he has to face that he killed his father and experience his mother's death. I mean, that's a lot of stuff to deal with.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Right. Kylo has a lot going on. I mean, he's got a lot. He does have a lot to deal with. And I just don't understand how he was able to kill his father.
I know that part, right?
That really, it's never like digested well with me. Like I just don't understand that part of it, and his reasoning, you know, and I didn't get it. I really didn't. But he does have to process a lot. We did get to see him, I guess, forgive or let go in this movie.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I do love his new look. I loved his helmet, mask, whatever you would like to call it. It was all cracked and then bonded with that red material, and which made him seem even more evil and scary.
Yeah.
And I was expecting a worse Kylo, I really was, just by the look and just how he has the respect, and the his force it seemed like it has become stronger. And it almost seemed like he was channeling his grandfather even more, even in the meetings with the how the representatives and the generals, and just having that choking ability like his grandfather.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that really, I feel like something happened in the time that we missed, where everybody just got so much stronger. And
I know, everybody does, and everybody has these abilities too, right?
Yeah. So it really tripped me out. It took me for a loop. And then we see, Kylo when he comes landing, and coming in hard, and it's like he's trying to run Rey over with his TIE fighter, but then she kind of leaps over his ship, and like cuts the wing, and then he crashes. I just thought that was so cool, and it was so intense. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like this movie just started and it's already getting to be that this is where we are. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
So yes, he definitely came in full force into this movie, and I was just so ready for him to make a statement. Yeah. Right? And he really did. Yeah. So I thought that was really cool.
So in talking about that encounter between Kylo and Rey, this is where, that the group are on that treasure hunt looking for that wayfinder. And, so that they can locate Exegol to ultimately find and kill Palpatine. And so they end up in the desert. And Chewie is captured and taken. And Rey senses Kylo's coming. And as he arrives, that's when she does that flip, that really crazy acrobatic flip. And she cuts the wing and then it crashes. Right. But Kylo still survives, which is kind of crazy, right? Because it was a pretty bad crash. And then the others yell to Rey that Chewie's being taken in that transport. I know. So Rey uses her power to hold it. And then Kylo starts doing the same. And they're both fighting, struggling to control this transport. I thought it was because they were fighting each other that it exploded, but really it was lightning that came from, that radiated from Rey's hand or force. And that's what caused the ship to blow up. And I'm thinking, oh my God, Chewie's gone. Are you serious?
I know. That would have been the worst way that they could end Chewbacca. And I was like, no freaking way. That did not just happen. He's alive. I don't know how and I don't know why. Chewie is alive. He is. Yeah. I just did not believe that he was gone. There was just no way. They couldn't do that to him. All right. But yes, that power was so strong and it surprised her. And then, I love the way she screamed his name. Chewie! Because she thought she had killed him. And that really scared the heck out of her. Really scared her.
But I like that she sensed he was alive. Yeah. And then that's when they realized there was a second transport. Well, people, get your story straight before you start making us all think he's dead on that transport, right? But so then, she finds out that he's all good.
I know. That was scary, though. That was an intense scene.
Yeah. A lot of them were. Most of the battles. I mean, there was more than this movie. Multiple. There were so many battles. Right. Yeah,
there were so many battles. It was so adventurous and entertaining. Right, like that movie didn't seem like a 2-hour long movie. I felt like it was.
I think it was even longer than that, but no, I didn't either. I was gripping. I was watching everything. I was trying to listen. I was wanting to follow. I didn't want to forget anything. Of course, I forgot a lot of stuff. So
there's so much. We have to watch it again.
So much happened, and we're not covering every single thing that happened. We're just trying to cover the highlights here. So, but everybody should just go watch it.
Yeah, but thank goodness Chewie did not leave our group. He did not die.
Yeah.
He's alive
Yeah.
and well. And like we said, Rey sensed his life, right?
Right.
And so they were able to rescue him.
Rescue him. Yeah.
Yeah. But when they got to Endor and they were guided to that Death Star wreckage,
Yeah.
which I guess is the one where Darth Vader and I guess it was Darth Sidious, right? Who in that the Death Star that was destroyed.
Yes.
And so they met again.
Yeah.
Kylo and Rey.
Yeah.
Back at it, fighting amongst each other, and that was so beautiful. That scene was amazing. Those waves, and she was she was so determined to get on that Death Star, and she was told to wait by that refugee who was once a stormtrooper.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and she didn't listen. She made her own little.
No, because she's a strong, fearless woman.
She reminded me of Moana.
Yeah.
Moana of Motunui.
Yes.
Just kidding. How she's sailing out there and these waves are just crazy. And I just kept thinking of Moana for some reason. But she made it on there, on the Death Star. And I was just so amazed at her. But then obviously here comes Kylo. And they start battling. And that was a really intense scene. And we see Rey, she stabs Kylo. And we thought that would have been the end. But then his mother, Leia, just speaks to him.
He goes to stab her.
Oh, he stabs her. Okay.
He goes to stab her.
Okay. Oh, and then his mom,
yes,
Princess
and
Leia,
distracts him.
Because she knew the destiny. What was it? She had her vision when she was training with her brother.
Yes.
Luke,
yes.
Right? And she was going to eventually put Kylo at risk one day, right?
Yes.
And so,
right. So she removed herself from training and being
her Jedi training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being the ultimate Jedi. So.
I love the connection.
Between
that Disney and George Lucas, they were able to connect the stories.
Yeah.
So even though it might be a new written story, but it still it follows somewhat. So that was really impressive to see them, and that battle was just amazing. So Rey had her chance, and so she stabs him.
Yes.
Okay, and then there she goes again with her
healing. Because she senses that Leia has passed.
Right.
And so I think she feels the need to heal him.
Yeah. Which then it doesn't bring Leia back.
No.
She's just there until her Jedi spirit comes later. So, oh my gosh, that was really sad.
I know. This battle was pivotal, to say the least. And I, too, thought it was a beautiful backdrop with the humongous waves, as we see this fight between them. But, we do see Kylo Ren die. But Ben Solo lives. And it's because Ben has a memory of his father, Han Solo, where he tells his son, come home. And Ben still has the opportunity to do the right thing. And I love the power of family, forgiveness, love, and doing the right thing. So I thought that this scene was so powerful. I loved it.
Me too.
And then here we go with another battle. It's the battle between Rey and Ben and Palpatine. I mean, Rey heads to, I don't know if it's Ahch-To, to exile herself because
right, yes.
Yeah, so she takes off, but she is guided by Luke and reminded of her strength and that of a Jedi, and she sets off to confront Palpatine armed with both Luke and Leia's lightsaber.
Right.
So Palpatine tells her if she kills him, she will ascend to the Sith throne. But Rey wants to destroy the Sith. And then he says, if you kill me, we can become one and live on as emperor or empress. And if not, I'm going to kill your buddies up there. So then Ben arrives and he starts fighting the Knights of Ren while Rey is fighting stormtroopers. And then they both team up to try and kill Palpatine.
Mm-hmm. But how did you feel about the connection and the strength of the two, Kylo and Rey, combined, which gave Palpatine an extraordinary amount of strength?
I was scared, actually, because I wasn't sure what was going to happen, because he still looked like he had the upper hand. Even though, because he said, together. Didn't he start becoming more real? Like his fingers?
Yeah.
And so I think he thought, you know what? Forget that. Mm-hmm. Forget about me and Rey, coming together and becoming one and living through her. No. I'm going to drain both your energy and become myself again and rule.
Yeah. Sick. Yeah.
So that was scary. Mm-hmm. So, and then Palpatine throws Ben off the ledge. And I'm like thinking, okay, I didn't think he was dead, but I wasn't sure how he was going to come back.
Yeah.
And then Rey's on the ground and looks up and, oh my gosh, you hear all the Jedis giving her strength and telling her that she has to restore balance. So she gets that strength and she continues to fight using all the light, all the force, all the power that she has, and deflects Palpatine's lightning off the lightsaber back onto him, disintegrating him, but it knocks her out or kills her.
Yeah, all the force.
In the process.
Yeah, because she is one with the Force.
Yeah.
That scene, I felt like I needed to close my eyes. That was very, very flashing lights. It was bright.
Oh, uh-huh.
A lot of electricity and a lot of light happening at that time. And it was scary. It was a scary, critical scene.
I know.
Oh
I wasn't closing my eyes. I was like, I can't miss anything.
I wanted to watch, but I was like, I don't want to have a seizure right
know,
now.
Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I do have to say that was so imaginative and inventive, and I thought it was interesting story to tell. To me, this is what these movies have meant to me, a story, right? Palpatine's power and consuming their power together, as well as losing the two lives of Kylo Ren and also his mother, Princess Leia. And it almost seemed like it was just through the Force, together at once. Like they just lost everything. And they both sacrificed themselves for others. And apparently this may have been destined to happen. And it was a good connection to see his father, his mother, in his heart one last time.
Yeah.
And that was just beautiful for their family. I love that.
Mm-hmm. So, and then we see him, climb out of the pit and he sees Rey body laying there. Mm-hmm. And then he's all devastated and he goes to save her by giving her his life energy.
Yeah.
And then they have that moment. And then they kiss.
Yay.
But then he dies. Because
Yeah.
he gave her his energy.
Mm-hmm.
Good for him. He got full redemption, which I thought was very cool for him.
He did. And it's Darth Vader didn't have that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that I always wonder what it would be like if Darth Vader didn't die the way that he did. If he was able to have full redemption and live on, though. Like I just don't like when people have to die.
I know.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
Human sacrifice.
Yeah, but Darth Vader did some bad things, and so did Kylo Ren, He did some bad things, so.
Yeah.
I know. It's like Negan, right? On The Walking Dead. It's like, oh yeah, he's a bad guy, he's done terrible things, but.
Like 2020
hindsight,
political
wait. Oh.
We're not going to go there. Yeah, I know. It was hard. I was like, oh wow, he has redeemed himself and he is Ben Solo.
Oh, I know. I would have wanted him to.
I'm like, wow, where is this going?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, man.
I know.
I wanted to know who Ben was now.
I know,
You know?
right?
That was hard. But Princess Leia.
It's very cool.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just, I've grown to love them as a family now. I mean, even though we didn't get to see them live as a family, I do respect and I feel the nurture part of their family, and I just now hopefully they're all together.
Right.
Yeah.
They
and
are.
their Jedi spirits.
Yeah.
And living on that way. And Leia, she had her own lightsaber, and we saw that flashback, what we talked about earlier, where she and Luke were Jedi training, and having to give up her Jedi training because she had to save her son.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously it looks like she saved Rey in the
Yeah,
same
she did.
time.
Yeah.
So, to see Leia and Luke with each other on Tatooine, and it was heartwarming experience, the journey and the narrative. When her body finally disappeared, I felt so much for her and her character, not just for Princess Leia, but for Carrie Fisher as well.
I know.
And, she took on an important role, and they were able to achieve this in this movie by using unused footage from The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Which I thought was quite amazing.
I
was
agree.
really like, how are they going to pull this off?
I wondered the same thing. Mm-hmm. I too love the tribute to Leia and honoring her mission and honoring Carrie Fisher, like you said, and sending her character off in an admirable way, by using all her strength to reach out to her son one last time. Who would, a mother's always going to do that. You're always going to try to save your child. And I just love that that was her contribution,
Right.
After everything else that she did, and then that was her last act. So
yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I loved it. So, Brooke, what were other things that you noticed?
Oh my gosh, I just can't. I've lost count. There's too many things. I got to watch the movie again. So Finn and Poe, they had tension. Why? Why were they like so annoyed with each other? I don't feel like they like settled that, or like we didn't explain that.
Right. So there was some things that they didn't conclude here.
I just don't understand. I was like so confused. Like, were they sexually frustrated? Like, what is going on?
Maybe. Could have been. I think people were asking. Yeah.
So, and then Finn had something to tell Rey.
Yeah.
But he never did.
Yeah, because it seemed like he was going to say something to her about...
what the hell?
I
and
know.
The way that he was so protective over her.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then, Finn wasn't into Rose anymore. I thought they hooked up in the last movie, but I guess I was wrong.
No, I think you were right. They just wrote her off, unfortunately.
That was so hard to deal with. And, like, I really love Finn's character. I love him so much. And I just was like, and Poe as well. Like,
yeah, that's so funny because Finn could have been with Poe. Finn could have been with Rey. And Finn could have been with Rose.
Right. So
Finn's got something going.
Dang. And the new girl on Endor.
Gosh.
They seem like they had some pretty good chemistry.
Oh.
But people were also talking about the LGBTQ kiss. And honestly, I was thinking, why not?
Yeah, I don't even think it stuck out to me.
Oh, okay.
I was just, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was, fine, whatever.
Right.
My adorable little droid. Poor thing was so timid because he was abused. My heart melts. I love him. I just want to, get a bunch of Star Wars tattoos, and he would be one of them. Or it would be one. I don't want to call it a he because I don't know if it's a she.
Yeah.
It's so cute. So adorable. Oh. And then Maz gave Chewie the medal that Leia was holding when she passed away. And it's a symbol of the friendship and the bond from the original cast. So I thought that was really special. Lando Calrissian was back.
Yeah.
He was played by Billy Dean Williams in the original trilogy. And we also got to see him fly the Millennium Falcon, which that ship belonged to him before Han Solo took ownership. So I thought that was really awesome and nostalgic.
Yeah.
What else did you notice?
Well, I thought it was kind of cool that Babu Freak's voice provided by Shirley Henderson of Harry Potter fame, Moaning Myrtle.
Aw.
I thought that was cool.
That is very cool.
Oh, and then Chewbacca's reaction to Leia's death.
Oh, he was like, "Rah."
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it was sad.
Yeah.
And then young Leia was played by her daughter, Billie Lourd.
Oh.
I love that she was her stand-in for the fight scenes when, her and Luke were training when they were young. I mean, that is so... Can you imagine you're playing your mother's role that is so iconic?
Yeah.
And here you get to finish this film, this whole saga.
Oh,
for
it's like Paul
her.
Walker with his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. And they were I saw a picture of her done up, with her hair in the braids and the bun, just like Leia. And, I'm like, oh, I would have never really thought that she looked like her mother so much, but she kind of did. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And I watched Kevin Smith's review of this film on YouTube, and I loved how much he loved the characters in this movie. A side note, he was in this movie, but I think it was just like a minor, his role. But he cried when he talked about Han Solo talking to Ben. He cried when he talked about Leia and her movement. He cried when he talked about Luke and his final scene telling Rey she is the one. I loved hearing him talk. He has such admiration for these characters, and I get connected to characters too, and I love when I see other people who feel the same way. So please check his YouTube out. It's very cool listening to him. I mean, he tells you scene by scene, and it just, to see him well up when he talks about these things is just really, heartwarming.
Awesome.
Oh, so Brooke, why do you love this movie?
Oh, well, I love this movie, okay? Let me just tell you. It was a great family movie to watch in the theater, and we enjoyed the time that we shared over the same bond and entity, Star Wars franchise. My family is invested into the chapters, and it is very much stories of importance as a part of who we are. And we are Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
This movie was part of a trilogy where we had so many questions answered. There is sense of peace now, and, we've finished it for now. I'm thankful for the adventure, and I completely recommend this movie to those who can appreciate the talent of all who made this possible.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Why do you love this movie?
Well, I love this movie because it dealt with choices and redemption. So both Kylo and Rey had choices. They could have chosen power, but they didn't. They chose love and hope and goodness. Ultimately, that is what they chose. And I've read a lot of things about Rey and how her character had no story and that people didn't care about her. But I did. I really love Rey. I love that she was an orphan and survived. I love that she has insecurities and second guesses herself and is vulnerable. But in all of that, I find her to be courageous and strong and quietly confident. She is innately good, and I admire her so much. I really don't think people have given Rey the credit she deserves. She is a true heroine for sure. I also love how the movie honored so many original characters and paid tribute to each of them and showed so much heart while doing so. I mean, think about it. 42 years and 9 films. That is so crazy.
Mm-hmm. I think that they did a good job fitting the time, with the trilogies. 80s.
Right.
Millennial, and then now.
Yeah.
So they did a good job tying everything together.
Yes. Thank you, George Lucas, for starting all of this.
Holla.
So, Brooke, in all of this, who does your award go to? What was your favorite quote, character, or moment?
Well, I just think that I really can appreciate the brand Star Wars altogether. But I'm going to give my award to Rey for being that really strong female character and just fighting, at the grip of our seats. I mean, we were just, I felt like I could be, I'm like one of her students. Like, I would love to learn. And just I loved her technique. I loved how she was able to train and adapt to her power. And she was extremely powerful. And she is like the epitome of a Jedi Force, right? She blew me away
Yeah,
with
me
her
too.
abilities. I mean, and I even brought or introduced newer abilities, which we had never seen before. And so it was just astonishing to see how much power and how much she grew in the last 3 movies. And so I am very much going to give my award to Rey for that strong influence, and my daughter can look up to a strong female character, and I just love that.
I do too.
We have that now.
Mm-hmm.
Who would your award go to?
So my award goes to the scene between Han Solo and Ben. I love that Hans appeared in this film. It was a perfect return for his character. They had talked with Harrison Ford, and he wasn't going to return at all because he felt like his character was done.
Yeah.
But they convinced him. I believe it was J.J. Abrams that convinced him.
Yeah.
So Kylo had to face what he had done to his father and deal with the loss of his mother. And Ben says, I know what I need to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. But he's reminded by his father, Han Solo, that he can finish what his mother started. It's not too late. So Ben turns to Hans and says, Dad? And Hans says, I know. Such a moving, powerful moment. That is just completely my favorite scene. It's like a father telling his son, I know. So father and son hug, and Ben is able to find peace and forgiveness, and I loved it.
Aww.
It was very moving to me.
Love it.
It was awesome.
Love it.
Oh, the saga has ended.
Good job.
Live on in Mandalorian and everything else.
Yes.
Right? So.
Loving the Mandalorian.
Yeah. Oh, so speaking of Mandalorian, what are you currently watching, Brooke?
Yes. Well, we finished The Mandalorian, and it was so good. I highly recommend it. The story of The Mandalorian, like, we didn't really understand at first what The Mandalorian was going to be about. So we thought that it was going to be about Boba Fett, one of the bounty hunters from the original trilogy.
Uh-huh.
And it ends up being that The Mandalorian is like a group of bounty hunters, and they focus on one main character and his journey saving, his first bounty in the movie was, or one of the bounties in his movie was the child. And that's the adorable baby Yoda that you've been seeing on all the memes.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody's in love with baby Yoda.
You can't watch a movie and not go, oh, every time you see this adorable face. You're just like, oh. And then, like, he acts like a little child, like a little toddler, like a baby, you know? And, like, he does things, and like, this Mandalorian, he's like, don't touch that. And then next thing you know, the thing's in baby's mouth, and he's like, give me that. I told you not to touch it. And it's just so, like, the relationship and how he cares and nurtures for the child, being that he was adopted into the Mandalorian. So it goes through the story of his life a little bit, and then how his journey to protect the child, because there's a big bounty out there. And so there's adventure. It's creative. The music is really cool. The episodes are only about 30 to 40 minutes long, so you could definitely, now that all the episodes have been released, you could binge it on your free trial. And, but I think that you're going to like to have Disney Plus. Well, we do, because there's something for everyone.
Yeah, I might have to come to your house and watch it.
Yeah. So that I recommend that, even if all you had to see was The Mandalorian, when that appears, and just check it out. It was really good. It was really well done. Really well done.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. And then the movie that I recently watched is called Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I
love it.
Yeah, and it's on new release, and so it was hysterical. Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie.
Yes.
Just, like, I loved it. It was so creative. It was almost like an alternate universe of what happened with the Sharon Tate mystery.
Yeah.
And Charles Manson. And so it's not exactly what you think, but
Right.
it was so Quentin Tarantino. Like,
Yeah.
he
I
just,
love the movie.
that was like, icing on the cake.
Yeah,
So
very
I
cool.
recommend that as well. What have you been watching?
So I finished watching the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and The Morning Show, and both are really good. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, third season, I think. They're kind of on a roll. I'm really liking it a lot. It's just done well. And Brooke, you're not watching this, correct?
No.
Right now, you will love the costumes and the era. You will love it. I know it. I everything's just so vivid, and just the story. The script is so well done. It's a great show.
Nice.
So I'd recommend it.
Awesome.
And then The Morning Show with Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, and Steve Carell. Whoa. You got to keep with it, because at the beginning it's just kind of like, okay, you're getting to know people. Things are irritating you. It has to do with the Me Too movement and Steve Carell's character, getting let go because of, being inappropriate. And, oh my gosh. But at the end, my mouth was hanging. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. So It's really good. Yeah. You have to keep watching if you've started it.
Okay.
For movies, I do want to bring up, when we were talking about Adam Driver, I watched The Marriage Story.
Oh yeah, I watched
on
it
Netflix.
too.
Yeah, I really liked it. I started to watch it, and then I put it down, or not put it down, but I stopped watching, and then I watched the rest of it. And I really did appreciate the movie a lot. I thought it was really well done. I believe Laura Dern got a Golden Globe for it. So I think everybody was nominated. So I thought it was really well done.
Nice.
But I also watch Angel Has Fallen with Gerard Butler. And you know what? It's, Olympus Has Fallen and all those. It's the same. It's the same. I mean, it's good, but it's, it's typical of that type of movie. So, it was very watchable. Nice. But I also watched The Way Back. It's a 2010 American survival film, and I liked it. This film is inspired by a memoir by a former Polish prisoner of war who claimed to have escaped from a Soviet gulag and walked 4,000 miles to freedom in World War II. My gosh. To watch these people trek through the snow and through the desert with nothing, this group of who are deemed criminals.
I watched it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Did you see this?
Yeah,
it's
we
crazy.
watched it.
And to know that it's true.
Yeah.
I love watching these type of movies.
Scary.
Yeah. It was with Jim Sturgis, Colin Farrell, Ed Harris, and oh my gosh, how do you pronounce her name again? Saoirse Ronan. I thought it was really good, and I really liked it.
I think it's Cersei, but
Saoirse Ronan?
Huh.
Saoirse Ronan.
She made a song. She has a song because people always get her name wrong.
Yeah.
And so she was on SNL and she sang a song about how you actually say her name.
Yes.
And I want to say it was Cersei, but I don't know now.
I
Now I'm
know,
confusing
right?
myself.
Well, we might be saying Cersei because of, I don't think it's Cersei, because that would be like Game of Thrones, right? Yeah. I don't know. Okay,
sorry.
We love her. I do love her, and I want to watch Little Women. And I'm going to watch Little Women because we're going to talk about it on our next podcast. So
Lady Bird, right? Yeah.
Oh, she's in that too. Yeah. But she's in Little Women, the movie that's out now. So she's in a lot of movies. She's great.
Yeah, she is.
So that's what I've been watching.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your recommendation. And that's our show. Thanks for tuning in. We are grateful that you tuned in, and we hope something that we said today resonated with you and gave you a chuckle, some happiness, some positivity, or inspiration. Please subscribe to our podcast and tell a friend. We would love more members of our TV club. Rate and review the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. We really need your feedback.
Yes, we'll be uploading a new episode Tuesday, February 4th. Next show will be on the Oscar-nominated movies being announced January 13th. You can find our website listed in our show notes. We'll see you next time.
Bye.